recording live on Twitch TV. On Friday, I remember what we worked on. What did we work? Oh, we worked on our input on Friday. So, what I did on Friday is we added an abstraction for our input. We'll be digging into later, but basically we set up like a tooling system to where, based on where you click, you can change the context of what your click will do. So that will save us some effort later if you want to do more dramatic things. So what I did is I think all we did was we only did like one test or a couple of tests. So I just kind of came in and fill in the blanks. That is now on GitHub. You can go check it out. It was really just like a lot of boilerplate kind of copy pasta code. If you're really interested, I can go back and kind of explain it all, but it's really just like checking for the mouse button, the location, verifying it, making sure that's the right click button, etc. And now that's actually implemented as our Ka input source. And the reason I've abstracted this as input source, mouse input source, and we just have a pointing input source listener, is if we ever wanted to use like a touch screen, we don't have to change it to touch or anything like that. So touch will work with this. And if you wanted to implement some sort of mouse type interface with like a gamepad, this will still work as well. So that's abstract, and so that when we build our game, we can keep some sort of abstractness between PC and console, and it'll still work, and it'll still receive the same commands and the same tool setup. So it should be less effort for us overall in the end. Over the weekend, I kind of played around and I had some fun. What I did is I actually created a new animation manager called the Threaded Animation Manager. I've got it actually set up in our injection mapping to only work with our C++ target. So I'm actually just saying use our Threaded Animation Manager. And what this does is actually uses a thread to update our animations. So our animations calls next on a separate thread, so we won't be using so much of our render thread using these calls to animate. And if one of the reasons I wanted to make it threaded is this loop here. This happens on every single frame of the game. If we look at how our subscriber works, it subscribes straight into the game loop, which happens every 19 milliseconds. And for the most part, an animation will be idle for up to about 6 frames, 6 game loops until the animation actually updates. So I actually made it a thread in the background so that it'll actually run that constant loop in the background. And so that's what this does. And so this is just going to run at 60 frames per second. And we can turn it off and on, so we can control the thread. And I also set up to where if there's no animations running, the thread shuts down. And when we start an animation up, the thread starts back up. So that could be a bit of overhead. I may change that later. But for now, doesn't seem to be a problem. But sometimes creating a thread can be overhead. What I can do in the future is we could just set the sleep way down, and when we start it back up, try and reset the sleep. It could be kind of a problem, but that's only if the thread creation creates a problem. So what I did is I actually set up our game world to be totally empty now. If you look at our playground, I set up something kind of new here. Is I took our wizard out of our main, our show playground. We just have our background in our hello world still to kind of just show that we've got like a background, everything still works. I created a function here, which is going to be inline, I forgot, where we can actually just pass in an X and Y and drop in a wizard. And every single time we click, we'll create a wizard. Every single time we right click, we'll stop all the animations that we have logged. So kind of show you, if I just click around, we'll have some wizards animating. If I right click, they'll stop. They won't restart because I actually just clear out the collection. So if we want to do that, I can set that up too. Actually, the problem is I'm popping here. So we could just do for controller, oops, controller and animation controllers. And then we'll just call stop here, and that'll do the same thing. I was just testing to make sure that things were being shut down. And so just do this. Oops. No, give me fucking, oh, split controller. So now that should no, they'll still stay stopped. Probably better just keep the way it was. But I guess what we could do here is when we create the wizard, we can make sure all of the other ones start back up. Or, we'll put it aside. It's really, this is just our playground anyways. It's really not that big of a deal. If we really want to get fancy, but there's our wizards. We'll stop. And same exact things. If our collection isn't cleared out, we don't have garbage collection. But we don't have our wizards being cleaned up. But this is what I wanted to work on today. So if you see, we're dragging the map around. We can drag our map around here. If I go down here and try and place a wizard, they won't place. It's because we're picking up the X and Y where the mouse is on the screen, and just putting that straight on the screen. So actually, they're being placed up here because this is the actual true coordinate system to them. And if you look, I'm just talking directly to our layer, which doesn't have any relationship to where I'm placing it. So we're going to fix that. We're going to actually create like our game world. I'm actually going to place objects in our game world. This may take a couple days, but probably not. But I'm actually going to revert what we did here. I'd rather have things being cleaned up for now until we decide to goof off more later. And we will. We will. Just running that. So at least our collection's being cleaned up. So we shut this down. And so now we've got our threaded animation manager, which I'm really happy about. And it shouldn't create any problems later, but if it does, we still have our other one. If you ever want to use like Flash or something that's going to get single thread, the other way will work. It will just cut into your frame time, your game loop frame time. So I'm going to go over here and actually edited our game world a little bit. Added 2 more functions. Not that it makes a difference because it's just an interface right now, which is world to screen and screen to world. That's primarily what we're going to deal with right now. So what this is that we're going to give it a world point, and we're going to get a relative point back to where the screen is. And then we're going to do screen to world, so we're going to give it where we are on the screen, and we'll get a world point. And it's going to be based on where the viewport is looking. I also changed moved item 2 from, oh, this was just a misspelling, that was Coid. Just made a couple little small edits. I changed this from your game object from its direction to look at. This will make better sense because we want to look at a point. And then our viewport, says I changed something. Oh, I removed a useless import. So just a little bit of cleanup here and there. I'm always kind of thinking about how to improve the game. So here we're going to create our class. We're going to just call it a game world 2D. And the reason it's kind of excessive to do package 2 here and I do game world 2D. It's because eventually I would like to have a 3D world. I don't want to just do game world and then game world and have it up to the packages and the imports kind of figured out. It could be kind of confusing. It's not my favorite way, but it does clear up some confusion sometimes, and not having some strange package path straight in your code outside of an import. It's just a preference thing. If you disagree, we can go back and discuss it and change it, but that's just my opinion. And I'm not that strong behind that opinion. I want to make sure game world looks interface object, and it does. So let's get it started. Implements game world. And there we go. So I want to get this game object here. And put the display node. What point that we have. And so total height and total width. What did we import? There we go. The total height and total width, genetic explainer interface, which we'll add it, is the actual current playable size. And this could be dynamic. So we can't guarantee that the playable area would change, like will not change. But this is kind of like, so we can extends past viewport. This is so we know how big our current level is. Like I said, we can have a level that kind of grows in size as you play it, and that's okay. It's just kind of the current size dimension right now. Alright, and so we're going to do, I want to make sure, okay, they're all getters. I'm going to make them getters and setters outside the interface. And there we have it. Gets me every time. Oops. And what do we need? Oh, we need this. Boom. Okay. Normal stuff here. And then hex lib run name unit ph. This is going to be world.2.game world2 test. Alright. Game world 2D test. That's not what we want. We want unlocks. Okay. This is going to be our game world. I think this is going to be better. I think for my case. No, it should be fine. Okay. Viewport. There we go. Now we're going to game world equals game world 2D, game world init, and we're going to create our viewport block. Viewport. I think, yeah, that's fine. We don't need our interface anymore for the time being. Inject and viewport. Okay, and now we gotta satisfy our dependencies. There we go. Now I'm going to say should get origin in viewport hasn't translated. Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to say viewport x returns 0. So and then viewport is at 0, 0, 0. Gain world. World to screen. I'm going to create a world point for convenience. World point. New world point to be. Yeah. So it's 0 by default. Assert equal 0 to that x to y. Okay. This should actually probably just pass right away. Viewport should get x and get y. Why not? Why? This is getting on my nerves that Mach 2 is not solving those. Mach viewport. Frustrating. Setters. Let's just do them all. This makes me so mad. Function. Public. I might try and pull the latest Mach 2 and see if they've got the interface thing fixed. Because that really messes up my momentum. Just have to go and do this. There it goes. Okay. Okay, so that's done. And I'm irritated by it. This is going to make sure we've fulfilled all of our interfaces here. Oops. Ah, of course. This is irritating. Only gonna make me more irritated. Alright. Raven pass. Or fail. Alright. Return null, which is fine. We expected that. Okay, don't need that anymore. Okay. So now we're going to create a couple of variables here that will always be initialized. Key, call point. And this is going to be world point. We create those so that we have to keep recreating them all the time for performance reasons. Creating things is expensive in video games. So we want to create as rarely as possible. And you're probably wondering, well, wait a minute. In the object factory, creating objects all the time. Sure are. We're going to remedy that later. Don't you worry. That will not be there forever. So we're going to return our point. And this should... Here we go. So now should get viewport translated value if getting point at 0, 0. So now we take this exact same test and we're going to return 20 and 32. And so we're going to pass in our world point, which is 0, 0. But our viewport has translated. And so at 0, 0, we should get 20 and 32. Creature of habit. This should for sure fail. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our point. Point equals viewport x and viewport y. Everything is recording. That's good. We're passing. Okay. Should give translated point when viewport is translated. It's kind of weird, but I think the test will be better explained. So what we're going to do is this, And we're going to set our world point x to 15, 14, and our world point y to 18. And so this should give us 34. And this would give us 50. And it fails. So we're going to do world. Let's do that. There we go. So we got that in there. Should give so we've got that in. One thing we're not doing is playing with the viewport scale for zooming. Come back to that. So what we're going to do, let's do this. It should give, that's giving our screen point, right? Correct. So it could be wrong. So if we pass it a world point, so we're giving it a world point. We want to know the screen. I think we've got that backward. I think what we want to do is we're going to move backward. Subtract. To think through that. I think we're going to have, draw this out. We're going to create a new area to play with. Let's draw this out. So we have our, that's a huge brush. I forgot how to change brush sizes. Can you believe it? Has it been that long? No. Let's put on some brushes. No. What if we do this? Huh, I guess we can't change the brush? That's weird. Is that, It's been a long time, I guess. Anyways, we'll just draw this. So this is our viewport. We'll just say this is our... So the whole white area is our game world. This is our viewport. So let's say the green world is sort of roughly translates to our screen. So here is screen 0, 0. So it'd be basically off the side of the screen, which would be impossible to click. So that's correct. So we've sort of zoomed over. And so if we pick a point here, the point should be viewport plus the world point. Yes, so that is correct. Might be the same both ways. That doesn't seem right. Yeah, I guess it is right. So You say 0, 0, we're going to need to give back whatever this point is, our edge of a viewport. We do here, it's whatever. Oh, aha. That's where it's wrong. We're giving it a world point. Ah, wait a minute. Yeah, so if we do here, and it's translated, it should be, there we go. Okay. Let's just ditch this for now. So we do have this wrong. Okay, so if we pass world point 0, 0, but our viewport has translated, so this one's correct. Just for clarity, if we set our world point to 0, 0, our our screen point should also be 0, 0. Actually, we can't do that. Yes, okay. So if we do 0, 0, so this is not technically correct. So you'd have to pass 2032 to get a screen point of 0, 0. Because we've translated or moved the viewport. So this should fail, and it does. So this should be, oops, minus for now. So that fails. That's because of this one failing. Okay, so now, looking at it now, so we're going to say, give us that point on the screen, that point of the world to our screen. So what you need to do, so our screen is probably, let's say if this is 2020, this would be 10, 10, even though in the world it's 30, 30. If that makes sense. So we've translated. I'm going to give this a thing. I think this should be 6. 18 minus 13. What is that? 6, 16. This might pass. There we go. So that does work now. Test should give correct point on screen if viewport is. I think some of this is sort of weirdly impossible that we can test on. Is in negative. So what we could do, we can set this to this. It really depends on the size of our viewport. And this will work. The masters is going to be kind of janky. So we should expect 30, 4, and 50. So it's saying negative 34. Is that true? Let's think about this. let's think about this. So let's say we've moved the viewport into the negative. So this basically the screen. So this is our terrain. Change the color on this. So we moved our terrain here. So terrain's at 0, 0. Oops. And then we put our viewport here. That's lovely. And then we got a point there. So what is our screen point at that point? Should not be in the negatives. So we're going to switch on. Because in theory, our world can never go into the negative. Let's see if that makes a difference. No, I got a problem here. So let's take a look at this some more. Our world is here. I think we should sort of prevent this from ever happening. It's kind of weird that our viewport goes outside of our extent of our world. So I'm going to ignore that test. Put this back to what it was. It seems wrong to me. It seems wrong. We should not be able to go outside our extent of our world. And then maybe we'll go back and change that later, or override it later. So let's create this. So we can visualize it from U2 again. So now, our screen to world will basically be what our implementation was before. Let me take this out. Yes. Should give 0, 0 if viewport is not translated and getting world point origin. Seeing world point origin is 0, 0. That's okay, I guess. So I'm just gonna click this test, manipulate a little bit. So what we're going to do is that's set to 0, 0. We're going to do screen to world. I'm going to pass it a point, which is 0, 0 by default. This will give us our world point. And we should get 0, 0 as expected. That actually will crash. Point. Point. I just didn't create one. Okay. Okay, so crash like we thought it would, if we wanted it to. So here's a world point. All right. Passes. And so we're going to should give translated value if viewport has moved. Viewport too easy. Got that. Okay, viewport has moved 10 and 20. And there should be 10 and 20, even though it's a point to 0, 0. Well, point x equals point dot x dot y. That should pass. Test. Oh, because it's screen to world. No, that is right. Screen to world, screen to world. Assumption value 0 is not equal to 10. Oh, that's why. Viewport. I'm actually passing it. Test. Should give translated world point if viewport moved and not at origin. Assuming the origin is 0, 0 in the world. So we're going to do world point x equals 15, world point y will be 26, which is 25, 46, plus x plus point dot y. Probably because this doesn't make sense. There we have it. Now, we've got that there. Let's stick this in our injection mapping. I'm going to add a viewport injector that map singleton of in world 2D. Put that in there. And so we're just going to use it for now. We're going to do much better abstractions of this, but we're just going to use this for now. Playground. Inject the game world. This is not how we're going to use it in the end, but I just want to make sure that things are actually working the way we want. So when we create wizard, we're going to get the game. We're going to get a point var point. Game world. We're going to get screen to world. We're going to give it a world point. Screen to world is a new point. Y, Z. This is sort of poorly named. We're going to call this button So now on our world point, X, world point, Y. And run our game. Okay. 953. It's looking for a U8. Which has got me curious. Is this set to float? Yes, it is. Alright. So if we drop our wizard here, we got no wizard. Ooh, that's a fault. What's going on? Let's see here. 2D, world. We can do this. Let's live run bash. Oh, weird. I wonder why that is. So what we need to do, riff viewport. You should portion not be null. Is that place the game world? Trace our world points. Again. Game world 2D. So it didn't even get to here. It did get to here. We're doing screen to world, right? Screen to world. Trace viewport. And trace the world point. I wonder if this is a knit. Is this a knit rainfall? Ah, that's because we're doing Z. That's our problem. What I'm going to do still should be 0. So that should be okay. And I guess I'll just trace the point just for completeness. The only thing I can think of is our viewport. Getting a weird X and Y. Ignore. So viewport should be the world point is null. Is our init not being called? What would be the problem of the object actually? For instance, it's saying that this may not be a face object. But it's game world and logic this. Game world init. You need to say game world init. That's not right. Trace that file. That file is init. That's strange. It should be getting an instance of we'll check here. We got the max singleton out as a game world. And the playground. It's the game world. After this is set. Okay. Viewport 2D. Let's see it. Viewport threaded. Not subscriber. I'm not even seeing the game output, the game world. I wonder if it has something to do with name collision with this. Wouldn't expect it to, but we're going to try it. Let's say layer manager. We'll call this one UI. I'm just going to call this one world. That's strange. It's good to know though. If there's a name collision between the two, it might just, if there is no name, might just get the class name, which happens to be the exact same name. Possible. But game world is capital G. In this case, we only have the lowercase g. It just seems really strange. Oh, weird. Down world UI. Huh. Oh, it's because this could be bad. Okay. Which one did it hit that at? Yep, right here. The world. UI world. Let me do this. Clear a build directory. Because this should be calling it, according to our implementation. That does create a base object. But the game world 2D has a init dispose is a game world, and that implements base object. It should work. So let me chalk it up to that build directory. We did change the naming of our layers, but we did rename them here on our injections. I don't think I've used the world layer manager anywhere else. I think so. Build is getting longer every day. It's because we're building things. The more things we build, the more things we have to build. Compile. And that's okay. This is crazy. Seg fault. So I guess we'll go back to what we had. In world. I just don't see why this is doing it this way. So I'm going to try doing this, naming it world. This is so bizarre. So it's creating the FPS, and maybe that's what was breaking it. That's probably what it was, the FPS. It was getting the layer manager needed me. So UI. Let's go back to settings, back to what it was. World. No, that's not right. UI. And what's weird is that I don't see the world at all. That's what's weird, but it is being created. I wonder if it's throwing an exception. UI and world, playground, UI and world. Yep, manager. Different the game world. Okay. Why is this doing to me right now? So it is creating our playground. Are you kidding me? I can't believe this. Oh, there we are. I think we name this back. That's fine. But still not injecting the game world correctly. Is there something I'm missing? How do the game world? So you should see right here that the viewport, Player Manager, FPS, Textbook, Playground, there is no game world. Why not? do this. I wonder if we should make it single time. Oh. It's got to be an exception happening. Viewport. This is insane. I can't believe why it's not showing. Why it's not injecting the game log. I've got to be missing something. I'm missing something. So, var game world. Instance game world. Game world. What does that mix? I shouldn't. Oh, that's not That's weird. Technical difficulties. It should not be happening. It doesn't make sense. Is it not mapping a singleton anywhere? Still don't see. Oh, there's the game world now. Something weird's going on. There he is. Wizard's being placed. So if we pan over. Oops, see? I'm not getting it still. I think it's backward. I do. I think it's backward. Yes, it's backward. The viewport does not advance. I think I'm just curious if this breaks anything. It's sort of a weird situation though. The viewport actually goes in a negative, but we're actually going into the positive visually. No, that's not gonna work. That's cute. All right, let's figure out a better way for this. I gotta get going. So I'll figure this out later, and I'll push up I'll push up the code fix I don't like the idea of the viewport reporting a negative. So let me think about it, and we'll come back and fix it. All right, you guys have a great day.